Then she says that whatever prosperity is there in the kingdom, it is only because our kingdom is marked by the impression of your lotus feet, the auspicious feet. So everything looks so bright and shining, so prosperous. But as soon as your presence is lost, your impressions are lost, everything will be lowered to dust. But when you leave, it will no longer be so. Okay, so we'll take the 40th verse. Further in her request, in her prayer, she says, Ime jana pada sridha supakva aushadi viruddha vana adri nadi udhanvata hi edhante tava vikshite. So she is saying that everything of their kingdom, either it is the cities and towns which are flourishing now, because nature is providing everything in abundance. She gives the details. What is nature providing? The herbs, the vegetables, the forests are full, the hills are filled with minerals, the rivers are filled with water, the seas are calm. So everything seems to be in a perfect, favorable position. It is only because of your presence. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respect because the herbs and grains are in abundance. The trees are full of fruits, the rivers are flowing, the hills are full of minerals, and the oceans are full of wealth. What is the wealth from the ocean? What is the wealth that one gets from the ocean? Yes, Ramya?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, pearls.
Yes, pearls and many precious items. So you see, everything is favorable. All the nature is giving its full endowments. Everything is profuse there. How it is possible? Only when it is possible when the Supreme Lord is favorable. So everything else becomes favorable. So she has this deep realization. She does not have any false dependence on anyone else. And this is all due to your glancing over them. So in this way, Kunti Devi is expressing her obligation, her gratitude, her feeling of uh, dependence, extreme feeling of dependence on Krishna. Human prosperity flourishes by natural gifts and not by gigantic industrial enterprise. This principle, modern man and modern leaders fail to understand. They do not have intelligence to understand this principle. The gigantic industrial enterprise are products of a godless civilization, and they cause the destruction of the noble aims of human life. What is this industrial or factories called? They create Ugra Karma. Prabhupada writes in some of his purports. These creates Ugra Karma. And what is the disadvantage of having this kind of Ugra Karma? That one will never perform the prescribed karma. The Jiva, the living entity in the human form of life, the purpose of human form of life will be defeated. Because he'll be busy in all those activities which will cause destruction for him. And he's very happy. And he's so foolish that he's day and night absorbed and busy in doing that. The more we go on increasing such troublesome industries, to squeeze out the vital energy of the human being, the more there will be unrest and dissatisfaction of the people in general. Although a few only can live lavishly by exploitation. The natural gifts such as grain and vegetables, fruit, rivers, the hills, full of jewels and minerals, and the sea is full of pearls. Very good, perfect answer. Here it is answered. And the sea is full of pearls are supplied by the order of the Supreme. And as he desires, material nature produces them in abundance or restricts them at times. You see the situation now? I hardly watch news, but few days back I watched news, and I was saying that more than half of the country is inundated with heavy rainwater everywhere. Then you see the effect. The essential food items have become so expensive. I don't know whether you are aware or not. All the vegetables, all the grains, all the pulses, everything is sky high. Why? Because nature is not nature is not favoring. So whatever advancement we have made, it can be destroyed in one stroke by nature. We have seen so many times. One tsunami is there to demolish whatever advancement man has made. In any case, human, whatever attempt they make to exploit the nature, they can never receive the favor of the nature unless and until they follow the religious principles given by the Supreme Lord. So here Prabhupada is emphasizing, and Kunti Devi is very much echoing this fact that because of you, my Lord, because of your presence, and because of your favorable glance, your auspicious footprints, which are marking our kingdom, everything is favorable, everything is profuse, there is no scarcity. The natural law is that the human beings may take advantage of these godly gifts of nature and satisfactorily flourish on them without being captivated by the exploitative motive of lording it over material nature. The more we attempt to exploit material nature according to our whims of enjoyment, the more we shall become entrapped by the reaction of such exploitative attempts. If we have sufficient grains, fruits, vegetables, and herbs, then what is the necessity of running a slaughterhouse and killing poor animals? A man need not kill an animal if he has sufficient grains and vegetables to eat. The flow of river waters fertilizes the field, and there is more than what we need. Minerals are produced in the hills and the jewels in the oceans. If the human civilization has sufficient grains, minerals, jewels, water, milk, then why should it hanker after terrible industrial enterprise? Ugra, it's terrible. At the cost of labor of some unfortunate man. But all these natural gifts are dependent on the mercy of the Lord. What we need, therefore, is to be obedient to the laws of the Lord and achieve the perfection of human life by devotional service. The indications by Kunti Devi are just to the point. She desires that God's mercy be bestowed upon them so that natural prosperity be maintained by His grace. Then further she says, she goes even further. So far, she was talking about many other aspects, that how the Supreme Lord is omnipresent, is omnipotent, and omniscient, and how he cannot be known by others, and only the very advanced transcendental Paramahansas can know him, and so many other reasons than for Krishna's appearance. But now she has come for a personal request. She, as an individual soul who has relation with Krishna, she is making a very fervent appeal, a very deep prayer she is submitting to Krishna. What is this prayer? Atha Vishvesha Vishwatman Vishwamurte Swakeshu Me Snepasham Mimam Chindi Dridam Pandushu Vrishnishu. So now she is focusing all her requests for her own benefit. What is the benefit she is asking? That Sneha Pasham Imam Chindi. Please cut my knots of affection, my family relation, my filial relations. Towards whom? Towards Pandushu. Who are the Pandavas? Kunti Devi's sons are the Pandavas. So what is her final request? So she is saying, Sneha Pasham, the bond of affection, or rather it is not a bond of affection. What is she saying? She is saying this is the knot of affection, which is holding me not to surrender and submit to you fully. So please cut it. Okay. We see in the previous days in the Vedic system, there was a system of Vanaprastha. Yeah. After a certain age, the person used to retire from the family life and he used to leave the home and perform austerities and Vanaprastha, that after the age of 50, that he would go to the vanas, to the forest, and perform severe austerity, and he would cut off his connection or his relation with his family members. Why? To connect with the Supreme Lord. But modern man, till the time he goes into the graveyard, he wants to live in the home. He does not want to leave his home. Although he's being kicked by his family members. But still, there is no desire. There is no desire to have any connection with the Supreme Lord. So she's saying that you please forcibly cut my connection with my sons. Dridham. Dridham means with force. And not only my connection with my sons, also my connections with my brothers and my father's family. She is such an intelligent lady. She does not want to allow any kind of material bondage or not on the basis of material relationship to exist. So Pandushu and Vishnushu. So Krishna may ask her, what are you asking? Pandavas are all my pure devotees. Your sons are all my pure devotees. Arjuna, Yudhishthir, all of them are pure devotees. And Vrishnishu, who represents Vishnu? The foremost of the Vishnu is Vasudev, Devaki, and others. So she is asking that you are Atha Vishwa Eshaha. Vishwa means the universe and Isha means the Lord. So Krishna is the Lord of the universe. So please think on the universal level that you are the Lord of the universe. Atha Vishveshaha. And you are Vishwa Atmaha. Atma means the soul. And Vishwa Atma means the soul of the universe. What is the soul of the universe? What is the soul of the universe? Yes, Sonika?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Garbhodak Sai Vishnu.
No. 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 Soul of the universe is not Garbhodaksha. It is the super soul. The super soul. Shirodaksha Vishnu. And he is Vishwamurti. Murti means the personification or the form. So he is the universal form. Krishna is also the universal form. Krishna exhibits the universal form in the Bhagavad Gita, and also he exhibited elsewhere in the Sabha, in the assembly of the Kurus, when he took the peace proposal. So he is Murti. So she is requesting here that please sever my knot of filial and parental affection. O Lord of the universe, O soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please therefore sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vishnus. We see in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is refusing to fight. Why? Because he is saying, how can I fight with my kinsmen? How can I kill them? And what is Kunti Devi praying? She is praying that kill the affection to my kinsmen, so that I can submit and surrender to them. She does not want to kill the kinsman, but she is saying, kill my affection. Sneha Pasham Imam Sindhi. Rinushu Pandishu Vishnushu. This is enlightened personality. A pure devotee of the Lord is ashamed to ask anything in self-interest from the Lord. But the householders are sometimes obliged to ask favors from the Lord, being bound by the tie of family affection. Srimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact, and therefore she prayed to the Lord to cut off her affectionate tie to her own kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vishnus. The Pandavas are her own sons, and the Vishnus are the member of her paternal family. Krishna was equally related to both the families. Both the families required the Lord's help because both were dependent devotees of the Lord. So these are not ordinary personalities. These are not ordinary men. These are very pure devotees of the Lord. But still, she is making such a appeal. She is making such a request. Srimati Kunti Devi wished Shri Krishna to remain with her sons, the Pandavas, but by his doing so, her parental house would be bereft of the benefit. Yeah. If Krishna lives in Hastinapur, he cannot be in Dwarka. All these partialities troubled the mind of Kunti, and therefore she desired to cut off the affectionate ties. Prabhupada gives a very high principle. You see, very important. A pure devotee cuts off the limited ties of affection for his family. Not ordinary devotee, or not a mixed devotee, or not a attached devotee, but a pure devotee cuts off his limited ties of affection for his family and widens his activities of devotional service for all forgotten souls. The typical example is the band of 6 Goswamis who followed the path of Lord Chaitanya. All of them belong to the most enlightened and cultured rich families of the higher caste. But for the benefit of the mass of population, they left their comfortable homes and became mendicants. To cut off all family affection means to broaden the field of activity. So Prabhupada is giving the higher goal, what it means to cut off the family affection. Without doing this, no one can be qualified as a Brahmana, a king, a public leader, or a devotee of the Lord. So neither one can be a Brahmana, nor a king, nor a public leader, nor a devotee of the Lord. The personality of Godhead as an ideal king showed this by example. Sri Ramchandra cut off the tie of affection for his beloved wife to manifest the qualities of an ideal king. Such personalities such as a Brahmana, a devotee, a king, or a public leader must be very broad-minded in discharging their respective duties. Srimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact And being weak, she prayed to be free from such bondage of family affliction. The Lord is addressed as the Lord of the universe or the Lord of the universal mind, indicating his powerful ability to cut the hard knot of family affection. Therefore, it is sometimes experienced that the Lord, out of his special affinity toward the weak devotee, breaks the family affection by force of circumstances arranged by his all powerful energy. By doing so, he causes the devotee to become completely dependent on him and thus clears the path for his going back to Godhead. So before that situation comes, Kunti Devi is voluntarily, she is herself making a request that whatever be the hindrance, whatever be the reason for my not able to surrender and submit to you exclusively, please remove all the obstacles. Please remove all the connections. Please remove all the knots which are there in my heart. This prayer, have you ever seen by anyone else? Not only she is asking for Vipada Santukta Sadhva, she is very, very enlightened personality. She precisely knows that what are the reasons of restraints. So she is herself wanting that let those all that can stop me from completely submitting and surrendering to you, let it all be removed. Whoever he is, whoever he or reason that might be, even to the extent of our own sons, our daughter-in-law, or our grandsons. She is requesting Krishna to cut that family relationship. Even she wants to be so much exclusively devoted. She does not want any source of any distraction from anywhere. She even asked that please sever my connection with the Vishnu. Krishna is Vishnu Vanshi. But what Prabhupada explains, in this material world, everyone is suffering from which disease? Which disease? Yes, Ravindra Babu?
That is skin disease.
Skin disease. Skin disease. Relationship based on one's body. She is so advanced that she does not want any other relationship than the pure spiritual relationship with the Supreme Lord. So she is wanting to terminate all other relationship to foster the relationship with the Supreme Lord exclusively. This is very, very exclusive. Such is the prayer of Kunti Devi. Do I continue? It is almost ending now. The prayers are ending. Only 2 prayers are left. Why she is wanting so? Very beautiful verse. Yes, there are only 2 verses left. Then there will be Sutta Vacham. Tomorrow I'll discuss that why she wants all other connections to be terminated. So that she can fully and exclusively focus on Krishna. Okay, I'll stop here. How many of you are able to memorize or you are practicing to memorize these verses? Every day making an effort? Effort is more important. Bolo? No one. Everyone is busy in their own affairs. Well, it's now your turn. I have covered both these shlokas, verses today. If there is any question, discussion, please ask, otherwise we close today's.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी लास्ट पैराग्राफ में ये लिखे हैं पॉपकोड में 41 वर्ष में।
बोलिए.
And therefore, it is sometimes experienced that the Lord, out of his special affinity towards a weak devotee, breaks the family affection by force of circumstances, arranged by his all-powerful energy.
वो हमने श्लोक उस दिन पढ़ा था ना, लिया था, मनोराम प्रभु ने दिखाया था. यस्याहम अनुग्रहामि हरिष्ये तद्धनम स्नेह. If the Lord shows some very, very extraordinary mercy, then what he does? By force. What he does? First, he takes away all the resources, all the wealth, all the opulence of that devotee who is not fully surrendered. And when he loses his wealth, when he loses his opulence, when he loses his resources, what happens? Gradually, his relatives also leave him. They depart from him. And Krishna makes him become completely helpless. Not hopeless, helpless. And then the devotee comes and seeks shelter of Krishna. 1088 was the verse. You showed that verse that day, Manoram. Yasyaham anugrami harishye tad dhanam sne. And after most of this Swajana, what we are thinking as they are my men, Swajana. If you become a pauper, then you will come to know how much of Swajana they are. It is the statement of the Shastras. It is the statements of the Acharyas. Are you pulling up that verse? But that is in very, very extremely rare case. Krishna does not put devotees to that test. That is for someone who is very dear to Krishna. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yasyaham Anugrahanami Harishye Tad Dhanam Sneha Tato Dhanam Tajyate Asya Swajana Dukkha Dukkhitam. So when the Dhana is gone, then the Jana is also gone. The personality of Godhead said, if I specially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of all his wealth, and then the relatives and friend of such a poverty-stricken man abandons him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. Dukkha dukkhita. Come down in the purport. Devotee of the Supreme Lord experience both happiness and distress, not as a consequence of material work, but as the incidental effect of their loving reciprocation with the Lord. This is not out of karma. This is out of Krishna factor. Only two factors work. So many times I have said. 99.999%, only one factor will work. That is the karma factor. What one has performed in this lifetime and the previous lifetime, accordingly things will unfold in his life. Nothing else he can do. But for those who are surrendered devotees of the Lord, karma does not act. The Krishna factor acts, and that is the loving reciprocation with the Lord. Srila Rupa Goswami in Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, his definitive treatise on the process of devotional service explains how a Vaishnava is relieved of all karmic reactions, including those that have not yet begun to manifest, that is aprarabha. There is kuta, there is brija, there is prarabha, and there is aprarabha. So aprarabha is that which is not manifest yet. And those who are just about to manifest is kuta. Those that are barely manifesting is bija. Bija, you see, is seed. From the seed, you cannot have the flower or the fruit. What the seed has to be done? It has to be sprouted in the ground. And when the seed is sprouted in the ground, from the seed, you cannot have anything. Then gradually, from the seed, what manifests is the tree. And when the tree also manifests, immediately you cannot have flower and fruits. So that is the aprarabh state. And when it has blossomed, it is called prarabh. It has manifest. It has become visible. So, and that which have manifested fully, prarabh. As a lotus gradually loses its many petals, so a person who takes shelter of devotional service has all his karmic reactions destroyed. That devotional service to the Lord Krishna eradicates all karmic reaction is confirmed in the passage of Gopal Tapni Stuti, Purva 15. Bhaktir asya bhajanam tat iha murte upadi neresya mushiman mana kalpanam etad eva neshkarmyam. Devotional service is the process of worshipping the Supreme Lord. It consists of fixing the mind upon Him by becoming interested, should be disinterested. What did it say? I cannot read, there is one mark here. Yes, disinterested. Cannot be interpreted. By becoming disinterested. Okay, fine. In all material designations. Sarvo padir vinur muktam tat paratvena nirmalam. So unless until one comes to that position of being nirmala. Mala means contamination. And nirmala means without contamination. That means pure. So that is Sarvo padir vinur muktam. When he is free from all material designations. Both in this life and the next. It results in the dissolution of all karma. While it is certainly true that those who practice devotional service remain in material bodies and apparently material situations for some time, this is simply an expression of the inconceivable mercy of the Lord, who bestows the fruit of devotion only when it has become pure. In every stage of devotion, however, the Lord watches over his devotees and sees to the gradual elimination of his karma. Thus, despite the fact that the happiness and distress devotee experiences resemble ordinary karmic reaction, they are in fact, please come down. They are in fact given by the Lord himself. As in Bhagavatam 10:87-40 states, Bhavad Utha Shubha Ashubhayo. A mature devotee recognizes the superficially good and bad condition he encounters as sign of the direct guidance of his ever well-wishing Lord. But if the Lord is so compassionate to his devotee, why does he expose them to special suffering? This is answered by an analogy. A very affectionate father takes the responsibility of restricting his children's play and making them go to school. He knows that this is genuine expression of his love for them, even if the children fail to understand. Such an analogy. Similarly, the Supreme Lord Vishnu is mercifully strict with all his dependents, not only with immature devotees struggling to become qualified. Even perfect saints like Prahlad, Dhruva, and Yudhishthira were subjected to great tribulations, all for their glorifications. After the battle of Kurukshetra, Sri Bhimadev described to King Yudhishthira this wonder at this. Yatra dharma suto raja kadapanir prakodara Krishno asti gandivam chapam shruhit krishnas tato vipad nahi asya karhi chidrajan puman veti vidishtita yat vignasya ko muhyanti kavayopihi. So how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhishthira, the son of the demigod controlling religion? Bhima, the great fighter with a club, the great bowman Arjuna with his mighty weapon Gandhi, and above all, the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord Sri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. Although a Vaishnava's happiness and distress are felt as pleasure and pain, just like ordinary karmic reaction, they are different in significant sense. Material happiness and distress arising from karma leave a subtle residue, the seed of future entanglement. He has to continue into the material existence. So he will be having a next birth. Such enjoyment and suffering tend towards degradation and increase the danger of falling into hellish oblivion. Happiness and distress generated from the Supreme Lord's desire, however, leave no trace after that immediate purpose have been served. Moreover, the Vaishnava who enjoys such reciprocation with the Lord is in no danger of falling down into nations, as Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, at the judge of all deported souls, derived. Jivana Vyakti Bhagavad Guna Nametyam Chetaschana Smarati Tat Charanara Krishnayana Namati Yachira Ekadapi Tan Anvyadhyam Masto Akrit Vishnu Kartya. My dear servants, please bring to me only those sinful persons who do not use their tongues to chant the holy name and qualities of Krishna, whose heart do not remember the lotus feet of Krishna even once, and whose head do not bow down even once before Lord Krishna. Send me those who do not perform their duties toward Vishnu, which are the only duties in human life. Please bring me all such fools and rascals. The beloved devotees of the Lord do not regard as very troublesome the suffering he imposes on them. Indeed, they find that in the end it gives to unlimited pleasure. Just as a stinging ointment applied by a physician cures his patient's infected eye. In addition, suffering helps protect the confidentiality of devotional service by discouraging intrusions by the faithless. And it's a very deep point. It says that in addition, suffering helps protect the confidentiality of devotional service by discouraging intrusions by the faithless. Close the share, screen share. Anyone will explain this statement? What it means? It prevents the intrusion of the faithless. What it means? Yes, Manas, you go.
When the faithless see the person's, devotee suffering, so their belief that, okay, this is not the right path.
Yeah,
So
they will keep away from Krishna.
Yes.
They will not take to this path. Where they will go? They will go to the demigods. Or they will go to other sources. They will not approach Krishna. Because they will feel that this path is dukkha dukkhita. This is full of trouble and suffering. So they will not be inclined. So these are all faithless, bogus people. So they will keep at distance. So in short, what Kunti Devi, she has already asked for this benefit or benediction from the Lord. When she said, let my life be again and again filled with tribulations and suffering. Vipada Santutta Shashva. But don't take it cheap. Don't attempt such things. Because when in our case, if some test will come, we will completely collapse. Because we do not have any faith. Our faith is only to the extent we are getting favors. If favors stop, and if even a little bit of shadow of suffering comes, you see our situation. We'll start crying and cursing Krishna. Hey, what have you done in my life? Huh? Why am I worshipping you? Even I say to Brahmachari, if one time prasad does not come, we will be exposed. How much bhakti we have in our. But this is only for those who are really dependent. See the dependence, see the depth of dependence. Now this is the time you see entire life Kunti Devi struggled and struggled. There were so many uh, traps and so many plots against her. And now is the time when Yudhishthir Maharaj is the unquestioned king of the entire universe. And what she is saying, you please cut my connection with me. Who will do that? She's saying, please sever my connection. I am not interested in this kingly son or the might of Bhima and Arjuna. I have no interest with him. My only interest, my exclusive interest is in you. No one else. Very profound, very, very deep devotional heart that she has. This is what is Sarvasya Sophia. Right? She is able to surrender everything. This is what Krishna says, Sarva Dharmani Parityajya. Abandon everything else. All varieties. All varieties of religion. Putra Dharma and Rajmata Dharma, whatever may be. Give up all of them. She is an epitome. She is an epitome of that pure surrender. How it comes? It comes through her heartfelt feeling of prayers. Hare Krishna. Okay? Anyone else? Unless and until you ask, we cannot relish the depth of what she is speaking. Anyway, we are nowhere near. But even to be able to appreciate what she is making an appeal to the Lord, it requires certain level of depth. This verse is very simple to memorize. Ata Vishvesha Vishwatma Vishwamurti Swakeshu Me Sneha Pasham Nivam Chundi Yudhishu Pandishu Vishnushu. Okay. Keep attempting, keep revising. You see, we should be inspired by the little Amoha. She has memorized in less than 3 days. She has sent me one more verse, that is the Bhagavad Gita verse. Purushottam has sent me, which I did not forward. But of my heartfelt prayers, that she continues with the same enthusiasm and inspiration. She cannot read. She's not even 3 years. She cannot read, neither she cannot read Sanskrit nor can she read English. But just by hearing. How is she learning? Just by hearing. If she can do at this age, then what is the problem with us? Yeah, Madan Swarup Prabhu, you see, I posted the video.
Yes, Prabhuji.
You have seen that girl, na? Amma Purushottam's
Yes.
daughter.
Yes.
She will be there in our Braj Yatra. But because the mother and father, they are hearing and they are trying to memorize, so the child, this is natural. This is what is called samskar. What the mother and father does, the child very naturally picks up. Okay, I'll stop here. And tomorrow we'll have to have a spiritual scientist class. And probably on Sunday, we'll be able to cover this prayers section of Kunti Devi. And next chapter is the prayers of Bhishma Devi. Very mature at the end of more than 55 days of his wait for the time of the arrival of the Supreme Lord to depart from this world. He was on the bed of arrows for more than 55 days. And then he will give this, the next chapter is the prayers of Srila Bhishma Devi. But I will go slow so that you get sufficient time to memorize these verses. Don't leave it. If you don't do it now, then it won't happen in this lifetime. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Kunti Devi ki jai.